Hi there again, guys. This is a new video, and we're going to try to make an old-fashioned apple stack cake. So I've not made it this way before. This is not the way my mama made it, but this is a new recipe that I've come up on, and I'm going to try it just to see how it turns out. But as far as people say you can't use fresh apples, you got to use dried apples and all this. A lot of people just use apple butter. I don't prefer apple butter. So what I've done today is I've got me 2 cans, and you can use fried apples. I've got 2 cans of apple pie filling, and I've dumped them in a kettle over here. And this is a Food Club apple pie filling. You can get any kind you want. I have used fried apples, and that does good too. So while I'm going to do my batter in a minute, but while I've got these apples, you can show them to you. See right there? They're just really pretty apples. The Food Club brand has a real pretty half apple. It's got a lot of juice in it, and it's got good flavor. So what I'm going to do is chop that up with a chopper right here. And I don't want it mush. I don't want it apple butter, but I just want it small pieces. And you can see I'm just chopping some of these big apples. These are all really pretty quartered apples. And I have used these before a long time ago, but my mama she made biscuit dough with sugar and made it stiffer. So that's how I was used to making apple stack cakes till I started doing a little bit of research on the Appalachian stack cake from the South, Appalachian Mountains, and they used a dough almost like gingerbread dough, but it was a lot stiffer, like a cookie dough. And they had molasses in the dough. So I think that might be good enough. I'm going to leave that laying right there and stir it. Still got a big piece or 2 in it. I'm going to go ahead and chop them up. And what I'm going to do is, it's got a good flavor, but I'm going to use some apple pie spice, and I'm going to use about let me measure. I had a measuring spoon here, but I don't know what I've done with it. See if I can find it. I guess I'm just going to use a regular teaspoon, and I'm going to put just a little bit more apple pie spice, because I like to taste the spices. Let me take that lid off. Okay. And this looks like about a half a teaspoon of apple pie spice. And I'm going to put about a teaspoon of vanilla. And I've got this on about between medium and low. Teaspoon of vanilla. And this is I'm adding to the canned apple pie filling. So, and then I'm going to put just a tiny smidge of ginger, ground ginger. And I mean, that's just a sprinkle because ginger's strong. And then I'm going to use a little bit of cinnamon. This is cinnamon. And I'm just sprinkling it too, because this already has some spice in it. You don't want it to be overpowering. And just a little bit of nutmeg. And that's just a sprinkle too. I can't even say it's a half of a teaspoon. It's more just a sprinkle. And then you want to stir that. And then I'm going to add just a tiny bit of brown sugar. And this measuring here is 1/4 of a cup. It's not hardly packed full. So we'll say right under 1/4 of a cup, or if you like it really sweet, you can do 1/4 of a cup. So we're going to stir this in and let it sit here on simmer, and just let it, or it's between medium and simmer. I'm going to let it cook. I don't want my apples going to mush. I like to have a little bit of that apple in it. And I don't like it with apple butter. If I want apple butter, I'll put it on a biscuit. And what I'm doing is just chopping up some of those big pieces that I see. I've got 4 cake pans out here, guys. And I'm going to spray them with Baker's Joey in just a moment. Baker's Joey. And they're cake pans, not pie pans. I got 2 stainless steel and 2 regular. Well, I've already got Baker's Joey out. So anyway, I'm going to let this cook while I'm making my dough, and I'm going to taste this right here. And that tastes good to me, so I'm going to get a clean spoon. I don't think it's going to need more sugar. I'm going to let my daughter, she's my taste tester today. I am going to have to chop it up a little bit more. I think it needs a little more sugar. Just a little. So I'm going to add just a little bit more brown sugar. A lot of people, when they're making their apple filling, they will add white sugar. I prefer brown sugar. So I'm adding another 4. So that's going to be close to a half, right under a half. And I think I'm just going to let it sit right here on between medium and low. It's more closer to medium. And I'm probably just going to make a 4 stack. A lot of people make 6 stacks. Like I said, this dough recipe is new to me because I've always made biscuit dough and added sugar to it and some spices. That's the way my mama done it, and I guess that's the way her mama done it. But, you know, I don't know. I just don't know why that's the way they done it, but that's the way they done it. So I'm going to get a clean spoon and taste of this again. Tastes better. I don't think it needs no more spices either. I think it's got enough spices. That's good. So we're going to leave that sitting there simmering, and we're going to get started on our dough. So I've got some egg beaters out here. You know I use egg beaters. So what we're going to do first is we're going to put our shortening, and I have a half a cup of Crisco shortening. Is he cold? All right, guys. So a half a cup of Crisco shortening. And it says shortening, but I've got the butter shortening. And then on my recipe, a half a cup of sugar. Hold on just a minute, guys. All right, guys, a half a cup of granulated white sugar is what my recipe calls for that I've got. I've looked at several, and this seemed more like the most simplest one, and that's what I'm after. It's simple, but still yet good. So that's my butter and my sugar. And then I'm going to go ahead and let that start. And then I'm going to add my egg and my molasses. We will have, I've got the nutmeg I need to put back up. I've got some vanilla and I've got this measured out already, 1/3 of a cup. And that's just a Grandma Gold Standard molasses, the original molasses. You can use any type you want. If you've got somebody that makes molasses or sorghum, you can use that too. So it calls for 1 large egg. Just making sure I get the shortening and the sugar mixed up. I'm going to cut that off. And then on this, you just have to, I'm going to use this 1/4 cup as a large egg. Y'all guys, you know I don't use eggs unless I just have to. You know why too. I'm not going to go back in that story again, but y'all know why. If you've been watching me a while, you know why. Alright, so that's the egg, the sugar, and the shortening. And we're making our dough. While these apples over here are just cooking right away. They're just cooking up a storm, and that's what we want. And they're pretty and brown. The sauce is getting pretty and brown. That's what I want. So we're going to cut them down on about 2 or 3 there. And then I've got my egg. I'm going to put a teaspoon of vanilla in there. That's probably a tablespoon, so it'll be alright. Let's see. A half a cup of buttermilk I've got measured out right here. We'll go ahead and put that buttermilk in there. It don't feel like you're making a batter, but it's almost supposed to be like a gingerbread cookie batter. I'm going to scrape the sides down. Let that beat just a few more minutes. And then it says after you, and then your molasses, your 1/3 cup of molasses or sorghum, whatever you prefer. They used to make molasses up in the mountains, but you can't hardly find anybody up towards North Carolina. You see people still making molasses. And then let's see, we've got all of that. And then we're going to start beating that and putting in a half a teaspoon of ginger. Half a teaspoon of ginger. A half a teaspoon of cinnamon. Got it right here somewhere. Cinnamon. I've lost my little flopper top that goes on that. I'll have to hunt it. Half a teaspoon of cinnamon, a half a teaspoon of ginger, and then a half a teaspoon of salt. Now, if you're using, I'm not going to hardly put a half a teaspoon of salt. If you're using plain flour or bleached flour, you're going to have to add more salt and baking soda. I'm going to use self-rising white lily flour. Now it says a pinch of nutmeg. Well, I just had it a minute ago. Has to be sitting here somewhere. There it is. A pinch. So that's a pinch. So let's go over the ingredients. I've got a half a cup of shortening. I used Butter Crisco shortening. A half a cup of sugar, a half a cup of buttermilk, 1/3 cup molasses, 1 large egg, or like a 1/4 of a cup of egg beaters, 1 teaspoon of vanilla, a half a teaspoon of ginger, a half a teaspoon of cinnamon, and then just under a half a teaspoon, maybe a 1/4 of a teaspoon of salt, and then a pinch of nutmeg. And if you want to dust your, when you get your layers all done, you can dust it with powdered sugar. Okay, and then some people, like I said, I'm going to show you how pretty this is. Let me pull you over here. Look how pretty that is. See how pretty and dark that's getting? Now that's pretty, and it tastes really good, and that's what I'm going to put in between my layers too. So now what we're going to do is we're going to add our flour, and I want to say that it takes 3.5 cups of flour. And I'm using self-rising flour, White Lily. A lot of people who make cakes and pies, they'll want to use plain flour or cake flour. You do whatever's best for you. I'm going to do it this way. That's what my mama always done. She used it what she had, self-rising flour. So I'm going to turn that up just a little to make sure all that's incorporated. And then we're going to start adding our flour. I am going to scrape down those sides though. Cut that apples on down on low. So this is a 2-cup measure. Now I make my other cakes with self-rising White Lily flour too. There's 1 or 2 cookie recipes that you have to have plain flour. And so this is 2 cups. And then we'll need 1 more cup and a half. So I guess I better get the cup measured. Here's a half. And let's see, where'd my cup go to? It's down here with buttermilk in it. And it's supposed to be a stiff dough. So we'll see. I tell you what, I need to clean my cabinets out for the 100th time. Can't never find nothing, can't never get to nothing. So I've got my cup and a half out here, and I put 2 cups in here, so we're going to start letting that beat. I'm going to go ahead and start putting my stuff up while that's mixing. There's what I use for my shortening, butter Crisco. Egg beaters and Food Club buttermilk, whole buttermilk. I thought I saw some butter in there somewhere. I must not have wrote it down. Just hold on a minute, guys. I'm going to check my recipe. Alright, guys, I'm back. And we've got that incorporating there, and this is bubbling right away. I'm going to turn it back up just a little bit. I don't want it real thick, and I don't want it real runny either. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and cut this down, and you can see how that is right there. Get you right here where you can see. And then I'm going to add a half a cup more. It smells good. Alright, let's see what we got going on here, guys. I'm going to raise this back up. See how thick that is? So I'm going to go ahead and put this other cup in there. That's 3.5 cups self-rising white lily flower. And then that's how we're going to put it out on some parchment paper and try to make it into a log, and then divide it on how many pieces of flour is trying to go everywhere. It's trying to fly away with me. You can scrape that down a little bit more. Ever how many pieces you divide it, that's how many pieces you're going to have to go in your cake pans. And Mama always made about 6, but they were real thin. And I do have my oven at 350, and I want to say that they're supposed to bake about 15 or 20 minutes until brown. But I'm going to go ahead and get me some parchment paper here where you can see what I'm doing. Well, that's still mixing. And once these bake, you still have to let them cool. You're supposed to let this cake sit overnight or a little longer before you ever cut it. And let all those juices from your filling, your apple filling, go into it. And I'll let you know if this is good this way, because I always make it like biscuit dough on a chipper and put regular sugar in it. So we'll see how this does. Go ahead and put that back down. I'm going to go ahead and spray my pans too. Always wiping them out. Tell you what, there ain't nothing like this baker's joy. Used to, you had to grease your pans and then flour it and dust it out, knock it out, and now you just spray it. So what I'm going to do is cut this off. Try to get all that off my paddle there. It slung it out on me, didn't it? Alright. I'm going to taste of that little bit there. That little dab of egg beaters ain't going to kill me. Well, it don't taste like gingerbread. I don't know what it tastes like. It probably needs some more ginger in it. Or molasses. Tell you right now, it don't taste like gingerbread, even though it looks like it. I'm gonna taste of that stuff again. I might have to add some molasses or something. Maybe See, it tastes different once you bake it. I don't know what that tastes like. Tastes to me like it needs some more sugar. But I guess the apples has got enough sugar in it. I'll let my daughter taste a little nib of that. That's a little nib when you stick it on the end of your finger. What does it need, Missy? Sugar? All right. We need sugar. Let me hobble over here and get some sugar. I'm hobbling over here to get some sugar. So I guess we're just going to guess at it. And this is probably, looks like about maybe a half a cup. And that's all I'm going to put in it. And then I'm just going to put it back on here. And then I'm going to turn my blades back on. That's a little better. So I'm gonna lay my pans over here so I can roll this, get this dough out on some, I'm gonna lay that spoon right there on some flour. What I'm gonna do is just put me some flour right here. Oh, I put some sugar in it. Tastes a little better. I could put just a hair more molasses. I don't think it would hurt it. Let me get a clean spoon here. Or just what?
Peeping in on that.
So that probably looked like about a fourth of a cup.
The molasses sweet.
No, that's sorghum. Taste that one. They got a bitter. Molasses they're sweet, but they're still bitter. But somebody told me this must taste like gingerbread. That's my daughter sticking her spoon in there.
Oh no, you ain't on there.
Yeah, I am. Is that good?
Mm-hmm.
Does it taste like raw gingerbread?
Yeah, it probably does taste like raw gingerbread.
All right. So we're going to try to get this off here, and I'm going to dump it out on this flour mixture.
Yeah, it does. It tastes like raw gingerbread.
All right. Now I guess this is the tricky part. Is where you make it and put it in your pans. I can't get all that off that blade. I don't guess it'll matter. Spoonful. So I got my flour laid out here. I hope you can see it. Let me push you back a little. I still don't there. There we go. Can you see my flour now? Alright. So what I'm gonna do, if I can get this thing off of here. Don't you look at what a mess. I'm telling you. Mess. See how thick that is? And what we're supposed to do is knead it a little bit in that flour, and we're going to make a log out of it, or something that's shaped like a log. And then we're supposed to divide that into 6 pieces. Hold on just a minute, people. Alright guys, we're back. I went ahead and dipped that, dumped that out of that bowl. And this is what it looks like, a big old cow paw. That's what it looks like, a big old cow paw. So we're going to try to sort of knead that. And I've got my pans, I've got my apples over here. But I'm trying to do 2 things at one time, or 3 things. I've got to put some minute steaks on for supper. And then we've got that potato casserole, that baked twice loaded potato casserole that's going in the oven right now. Don't you look there how pretty. We're going to knead that over just one more time. And then we're going to make this thing in a log. And every how many pieces, we're going to flatten it out there. And I saw this woman, she just pinched it off. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's a little fat in there. So there's 1. That didn't look right. Here's 2, 3. That's what she done. 4, 5, 6. Them fattens. I'm going to add a little to that. So here's what you're supposed to do, guys. You take this little cow paw, looks like gingerbread, and you put it in one of these pans that's already been done with Baker's Joey. And we had 6, so, and it's supposed to be thin. You might have to dust your hands with flour again as you're mashing these down, but my mama mashed them down right to the edge. Of course, hers didn't have molasses. And then you put them in the oven for 10 to 12 minutes. And we're going to put these on the top shelf, I believe. Dust your hand again. It's almost like a cookie dough because your apple filling will soak through overnight. And I need that big old dish right up there, don't I? Or one, no, I need one that's got a, so if it runs over, like if your apple filling runs over. We take this other cow pile here, cow patty. Well, it looks like cow patty. And if you want to wear gloves, you wear gloves. I don't care. It's for my family. I'm plain. If they've eaten it all these years and they've still survived. My hands look rough. I've burned them, beat them, scratched them, tore them. I tell you what, my blood, sweat, and tears in this land down here. And up there where we used to live too. In Cott County in Newport. I live in Dandridge, Jefferson County now. And if you get a little bit too much flour, it ain't gonna hurt nothing. Ain't gonna hurt a thing. So one more, and then I'm gonna have to wait till I get these pans empty because I don't have no more cake pans. So we're gonna mash this down. And then when they come out of the oven, guys, I will show you how we put this together. And then I'm going to show you, I'm going to take some pictures of my twice baked potato loaded casserole. So with my floury finger, I will put you on hold till I see you in a few. All right, guys, I'm back, and we've got these stack cake cow patties out here. That's what I call them. We've got 6 of them, but I'm not sure that all 6 of them I'm gonna have enough stuff to do it. So we're gonna start out with this one right here. I might start out with this other one because this one here kindly broke, so we're gonna put it right here. It's almost like a cookie. So as you can see, it's cracked, but we're gonna try to use it anyway. So I'm gonna take my apple pie filling. That's what I call it. Boy, that's good. Let me get this off of here. And a spoon to spread it with. I remember when my mama made them. Sometimes they would break. It's like a cookie. And she'd just use them anyway. Because they're so thin. And some people let it run over the sides too, but it's, I don't know. You do it ever how you want to do it. I don't think we're going to have enough apple filling to do 6. But if we don't, we'll just do 4. This one here has got a little bit of flour on it, but that ain't going to hurt nothing either. Looks like I'm going to have enough to do for 3. If the top one don't have anything on it, you just... Mama always puts some on hers, but... I know that peeling's good. No, we're not going to have enough to do them all. I think you take the top one and turn it upside down and dust powdered sugar on it. I wish I'd had more apple stuff, but I didn't. I'll do something else with these others that's left over. I'll put something else in between them. Let's see what this is. Nope. Now I've got a little brush over here. I said, I know I've got a little brush over here somewhere. Like a little brush, butter brush. I'm going to try to brush this one off right here. It looks like we're just going to have 4 stacks. Little brush. We'll probably just eat this like gingerbread cookie. What does it taste like? Daddy's probably put it away. I'll be right back, guys. All right, guys, I sort of brushed some of that flour off. And I'm going to put some powdered sugar on top. And we're going to put that right there. On me some powdered sugar now. We're going to use these two and just munch on them because they fell apart anyway. See there? That's like a gingerbread cookie. That's hard. Well, I don't have one of them little fancy dusters. Let me see what I can do.
It's a fancy duster.
Like you dust powdered sugar over with, guys. Let's see, right here, I can use this. I don't know if that'll work or not. We'll see here in a minute. So that was my powdered sugar. I'm going to wipe the powdered sugar off here, off my base. Looks like snow on top, doesn't it? And from what I've read, this used to be called Appalachian wedding cake. My mom always called them an apple stack cake. And you're supposed to leave them out on the bar overnight for all that to soak in. And then you can cut them, or you can put them in the refrigerator. So there we go, guys. There we go. How's that look? That look good? So this is Sheila E. from Tennessee. Before I let you go, I'm going to let you look at that twice baked potato casserole. So right here it is. Around there, look at there. Ain't that pretty? I bet that'll be delicious. Sheila E. from Tennessee with twice baked potato casserole and apple stack cake. All right. May God bless you. Take care of you. Keep you safe. Always smile, because smiles are contagious. Always give God glory, praise, and thanks, for He is worthy. All right. This is Sheila E. Until I see you again. All right. Have a good holiday.